This segment is brought to you by the KTDF. We're proud to be partnered with the Kentucky Thoroughbred Development Fund. Purses in Kentucky are powered by the KTDF and have led to an incredible enhancement of the Kentucky racing scene. KTDF dollars in purses are only for Kentucky bred horses, so breeding in Kentucky is the best way to maximize profit and return on racing and breeding investments. Because of the benefits of the KTDF, Churchill Downs racing and the Kentucky racing circuit as a whole continues to be on an incredible upward trajectory. For more information, please check out www.inthemoneypodcast.com/KTDF. Hello and welcome to the In the Money YouTube channel. It's Mikey P, Mike Probozzi, looking at Churchill Downs Stars of Tomorrow for this Sunday. It's October the 26th, and we're less than a week out from the Breeders' Cup. And we, of course, thank the KTDF for sponsoring this content for us. Kentucky racing means Chris Cupples is with me because he definitely is all in on Kentucky racing. Chris, always good to hear your thoughts, but we got 2-year-olds, and that is especially, I think, your specialty.
Yeah, I love these type of cards. It always falls right before Breeders' Cup, like we were saying before we come on, so it always is a pinch for time, but I try to at least look at the late races, and then if I get time, I'll circle back to the early ones. Always good opportunities, and you'll get prices on horses you like most of the time.
Yeah, plenty of Breeders' Cup coverage on the network this week. So check out the In the Money Media YouTube channel for that. Check out the audio side, of course, on the written side, also at inthemoneypodcast.com. But we're going to look at late pick 5 for Churchill Downs on Sunday for this Stars of Tomorrow card. Starts in race number 7, 3:55 Eastern time would be that late pick 5 for Sunday at Churchill. And it's main specials, 2-year-olds, all 2-year-old card on Sunday at Churchill. Chris, 6 furlongs. You got quite a few first-timers in here, but I do think the favorites are going to come from the experienced ones that have produced some pretty big figures. So how are we going to kick it off?
I think you could start the conversation with Strawdell, and I'm not going to read what's on the paper here. It's pretty obvious. There's nothing hidden there. I think it's a must-use horse. Likely will go off favor. My top pick would be the 4 Rocky Balboas. The race at Keeneland, that was the fastest dirt sprint that day. It included outfielder who's going to go to Breeders' Cup. And that horse Rocky Balboa ran a little faster than 3-year-old Praying, who won the grade 2 that day. Then Dell's 37%, third start, dirt sprint. You know, the debut also was at Saratoga and finished behind a nice Pletcher horse. That one's on top for me. I like the 2 a little bit. Street Party. Been working solid since April. Several of them works were with older 3-year-olds, a couple that were stakes tested. Nothing negative there. If I get spready, the 1 and 13 will be my others, and I want to fade the 3 and 7.
So, Chris, you mentioned the 2 Street Party, and this horse obviously is bred to stretch out. You got Street Sense on the top, you got Bernardini on the bottom, but you're thinking maybe this one could have the talent to maybe jump in a 6 furlong race first time out and win. You get Saez on top. What's your thoughts on the pedigree there? Are you looking more at the talent, because I know you watch a lot of workouts? Does the pedigree kind of scare you off those horses, or does it encourage you because you're going to get a better price?
It encouraged me of getting the better price. And, Keneally's only 10% first-time dirt sprinting, but when he goes to Saez, that jumps up to 24%. And he's kept this thing on the work tab for a very long time without entering it, which when I see Keneally do that, it's usually one he's pretty high on. He's wanting to get them ready. He might not be looking to win here, but what I've seen in the mornings, if the other 2 don't show up, has the talent to do so.
Yeah, and I'm sure that a lot of money is going to run through the favorites in here. You mentioned Rocky's Balboa. You don't often see a 91 buyer for a maiden special weight 2-year-old race at Keeneland, and that horse popped that one in a second place finish. And then you mentioned the 11. That one's obvious. Was in the Champagne in that wickedly fast race back on October 4th in New York. But that maiden special weight at Saratoga was a nice race back on August 30th. Also, one horse you didn't maybe mentioned was the 8 Magic Moose Maxfield first timers, and these Maxfield first timers for me are just they're popping, right? I mean, it's seems like they're all live right now. He has 10 first-time starting winners out of 47 starters so far. So, I mean, that's fantastic numbers, especially for 2-year-olds for a very new sire.
Yeah, and that's something I didn't look at. I'm glad you pointed that out. Sims is only 1 for 12 with first-timers dirt sprinting. That 36 initial work kind of pops out at me a little bit. If you got real spready, you definitely could include. And the big fade horse I think will take money is the Gun Rage for Ward. He's 41%. It's a great big number for, dirt sprinting, maiden special weights because it's Wesley Ward. Now you got IRAD, which he's 1 for 12 when he goes to IRAD. This is a big, lengthy colt, a lot of knee action, looks all turfy to me, which that was a big thing for me at Keeneland. Now we're going to Churchill, so the turf horses do run a little better at Churchill, so that horse could win, but it'll do it without me.
Yeah, definitely a turf pedigree on that one, and that's one that I looked at, obviously, but saw that pedigree and decided against. But certainly a nice way to kick off that pick 5 on Sunday at Churchill. Go to race number 8 here. It's 2-year-olds Rags to Riches Stakes, a mile and a 16th. Chris, a couple horses show up out of the Alcibiades back at Keeneland on October 3rd. And obviously the top 2 there are heading to the Breeders' Cup. But I was interested in the 3, America the Great, just like the race last time on the stretch out, and really had shown a lot of off-the-pace lines there for Cassie. And Tyler put her straight on the front that day at Churchill going a mile. And she had to race hard the entire way around. I know the fractions aren't super fast, but she was, it seemed to me, she was hooked the whole way and just battled along. She was favored. I like the race. I like this progression here. I like that they show up in this listed stake. Do you like her, or would you prefer some of the others?
There's nothing wrong with her. I'm not going to use. If she wins, I'll be out on everything.
Okay.
And you can scratch the 1 out of here unless we're recording this Friday morning, unless they change something. The 1 King Solver looks like he's running today at Keeneland. I'm going to go to the 4, Life of Joy. This horse debuted greenly, kind of got shuffled back. I don't know, he was setting off the pace, just kind of circled the field at will, 3 or 4 wide, drew off in the stretch, much the best. Any improvement off of that, it's going to handle these. And my lone B is going to be the 6, Josie Joe. It's a very unlike a Mott move, Riley or Bill, to take one that ran second on debut and from in a stakes race. Did run well with a great trip. It was a nice debut, no doubt. Runs second. The horse you mentioned, I'm probably going, when I play this pick 5, single the 4 to a multiple increment and have 1 ticket at a minimum using the 6 as well.
And Brad Cox, obviously no stranger to starting even some of his better horses at Indiana. And you don't see too many blowout maiden special weight winners there, 14 3/4 lengths. But Chris, just real quick on that, a lot of times when you get that extended win like that, the buyer figure tends to be inflated. Is that something that scares you necessarily? Is it something that maybe you think that the figure, can it be questioned just a little bit?
I would say yes, but it's really hard for me to. I don't look at buyers at all. They're on. The only reason they're on my PPs is because I can't get them removed. If I could, they wouldn't be on there. My figure is actually, which typically is lower than buyers, actually a 79. And what I do is give plus and minuses. So this horse could have run faster than a 79. That figure is higher than anybody else in this field with this, that has experience. So this horse was a lone A. If I get 2 to 1, I'll win bet this horse.
I do think you could get that in here. One horse that we didn't talk about, I just wanted to mention, was the 5, the Grumpy Rabbit. There were some people that thought that this horse could win, that Alcibiades that day, and got bet down to 6 to 1 when you had the big favorite Tommy Joe in there. Now, never threatened the top 2, but just this horse I thought raced okay first time there going along, and that was a tougher race. I do think that this is a better spot for this one, and I like the 2-turn experience there. They don't show up in the Breeders' Cup. I do think it's a more realistic spot for this horse. So, Kenny stays home. I do think if they cook up front, that this one maybe could kind of grind along and have possibilities late.
Yeah, he wants longer. Both of Kenny's horses in here are kind of grinders, one pace, and if nobody else shows up, I could see one of them winning. And he debuted the Grumpy Rabbit on the turf, not because it's a turf horse, because he wanted long right off
Right.
the bat. And at that time, they're not running any long dirt races. So, you know,
Mhm.
when you sometimes people see that turf and they're like, oh, what? This is a turf horse. Why are they putting it on the dirt? But that would be the reason here.
Yeah, and not this time for that one. Obviously, those can run, I think, on broken glass, so I'm not sure that necessarily matters. But you're right. I do think that it was a distance thing for that one for sure. Let's go to race 9, and this is a turf race here. They're going a mile. Again, 2-year-old maiden special weights. Chris, lots of first-timers. Again, you have the Wesley Wards, the Brad Coxes, the Jonathan Thomas. Even Ethan West shows up with a $100,000 baby in here. Do you like the favorite, let's be frank, coming off that Pilgrim third place finish, or seems to get kind of far back? You prefer somebody else?
I'm assuming they're not going to run here. This horse is in the main body of the field of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, but
Mm-hmm.
entered here, and maybe they are convinced they're not good enough to go out there and beat the Euros, and they run here. So my whole ticket structure will have to wait until scratches come out. Would I put that horse alone by himself? No, but would definitely be the favorite. Must use. If it's mine, I'm going to the Breeders' Cup. You just don't get them shots. And this horse, I can make a case that this horse was second best last time, maybe even won, because when they come off the turn, he was too far back on a racetrack that's played to speed. He lugged in really badly at the 3/16 pole, had to get out, made a big run. I know. I think of the American runners in the juvenile, the winner of that race, Bodas, is probably the best in my opinion. And then I can make an argument this horse could have won that race. So to me, hands down, this horse is going to be favorited here if they run, and you must use it. The 4 Empire West is a Brad Cox horse with IRAB. We have no information on them. There's no workouts or anything. We've seen these horses win at Keeneland. I would leave that one off if you just want to play dangerously. But they've been, since IRAB teamed up with Brad Cox, they've been winning a lot. The 7 Vermont makes its 3rd start. It's got 2 solid route experiences. And if the 14 draws in, you got to use that one too. Walsh and Tyler have been winning everything at Keeneland going long on the grass. There's no workout information on this horse, but those would be the 4 for me. Now I can make a case to single the 9. And the oddball horse I have in here is Robert Lee, the 11. This horse was in Mott's barn at Saratoga. Caught my eye watching some other works. Went to my stable mail immediately. Now we've ended up in a different barn, so it's highly unlikely this horse can win. I don't know the story there. I just know it caught my eye back in the summer.
Yeah, Chris Hartman certainly cold as ice currently, but a very capable trainer. They show up on the grass going long first time out, so definitely something to look at. I was a little bit obvious here. I thought the 5 and the 7 looked pretty good off those prior races, and I could definitely see the 7 being out front early. Is probably going to need to be caught. Has that 2-turn experience, and the Kentucky Downs race was just okay. It really was, but was bet in that spot. But I don't know. I don't really like horses that are blowing lead in the stretch, but I do think that this horse is going to be forward. You get a new jockey here, and I do think that could suit this one. So that one was a use for me. And then the 5,000 Sticks, and it's Brian Lynch. Now, Declan rides back, comes out of a pretty live race. The top 2 came back to win next time out. So I'm looking for key races like that. And those 2 were 1-2 in the betting. So I do think that, this horse could play well in this spot also. You get a little bit of a stretch out now. You got the right post. So that would be one I do think has a chance to win this turf race. But again, wide open. It's a big day. You got first timers. A lot of times, these barns will wait for these bigger days to debut some of their nicer ones. So definitely tough race, that mile turf race on Sunday at Churchill.
Yeah, and I didn't notice something about the 5 just kind of in my lower included if you spread, but they debuted that horse in a restricted allowance race when there was maiden special weight, so plenty at Kentucky Downs. That's kind of odd.
Yeah, really odd, actually. And now they show up here. I do think that one's interesting and took money. I mean, it was 4-1 in that race. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I dropped the ball there, not noticing that the first time. That horse would definitely move to my includes.
Race 10, Grade 3, Steet Sense Kentucky Derby prep. There's Derby points on the line. Steet Sense Stakes last year produced the Derby winner this year. Sovereignty came flying down the middle of the track like a good thing. sort of like the Derby this year. So do we have the Derby winner in this spot? Mile and a 16th now. There's a horse in here from Kenny McPeak's barn, Universe, that keep an eye on morningline.io, and you can check out that website. Apparently, there are going to be some shares available in Universe. So if you're interested in a horse like this and getting a piece of that, go to morningline.io/ITM and you can check that out. He's not there quite yet, but keep an eye on Morningline for this one. Chris, Universe was third in the Champagne, and you know how quick that race was, how quick that pace was. Came from off the pace. You get a different jockey here. Blinkers off. You get 2 turns now. 4 against.
4, I have Universe on top. And like you said, after breaking maiden at Saratoga, goes the Champagne, ran a distance third to the fastest 2-year-old that we've seen this year that's not going to the Breeders' Cup because he ran too fast, which is completely absurd. I'm going to use the 7 also. Had a good trip last time, but went out there, did his job, has reasons to improve. Those are the main 2 I want, like I said, with Universe on top. And the 2, I was impressed with this maiden win, showed good speed, spent a large portion of the race between horses when asked, drew off and galloped out big time through the turn, accelerating. That horse interested me at a price as well.
Yeah, has talent and certainly, has a little bit of a turfy pedigree there, but 2 for 2 and improving rapidly. Now you get the stretch out here. Any thought to the William Walden horse, the one Vost, after third in the Iroquois from off the pace? This one, it seems to, have a decent kick. Now you get even more of a stretch out here. You get the 2 turns. I do think that there's enough speed in here to set this one up. So, and of course, Walden, his horses are firing pretty much everywhere.
I just thought it was too slow, and the horse is not bad, but by no means. It was on the short list for Breeders' Cup, did not pre-enter, but got beat by Spice Runner, who I think is just okay. Comport, who is a turf horse, and this horse ran third and had no excuse, was losing ground in the last 16th. I think would have to improve here, and there's just others with too much upside.
Race 11 to finish on this Stars of Tomorrow card for Sunday at Churchill. Restricted maiden special weights to finish going 7 furlongs. And this is one of those races where you have horses that were sold or RNA for $65,000 or less. Chris, another wide open bunch. How are we going to get paid?
Yeah, first I'm going to mention the ones I'm going to fade. The one short price for Dale Lannery. I didn't like the way this horse finished last time. It's going to be a total toss for me. The 3 Clapback has Key Fong, who's been lighting it up at Keeneland this week and has beat me several times. This horse took all kind of money at Saratoga on debut with IRAD, no running. It's been entered for turf races in Indy twice. Now comes back and fires off a bunch of bullets at Churchill. There's just too many questions at a short price I'm not going to have on my tickets. I'm going to play this pick 5 and hope it pays at the end. I want to use the 5, Smoking Hot Stuff, decent debut. The barn's only 5% second time out. It was really a B, but Ben's the only B I had. I moved to my A line. The 6, I don't know how you pronounce that. There's absolutely no work information on this horse. Chris Davis is 11%. First timers, dirt sprinting, maiden special weights, 2 for 7 at Churchill. Both of those wins came with Jose aboard. They entered this horse at Keeneland earlier this week, was on the A's, didn't get in. I have a feeling this one can run. That's going to be my top pick. I'm going to use JD's home to 10. It's going to take money, but wouldn't be any kind of win bet for me anyway. And then the 8, Ballerina. This horse is not going to be 15-1. The thing stood in the gate, was out last, was probably 14, 15 lengths back, made a long sustained run, gaining ground, going around horses, and then galloped out past the field. I'm going to use that horse as well. Then we're the only 4. 5, 6, 8, and 10.
Yeah, barn change for the 8 too after that first effort.
It was pretty impressive, but if that horse takes too much money, I wouldn't win bet it. If that horse is 12, 13-1, I'd have to put a little on it. It was just too impressive.
I was the 5 and 6 with you in here. The 6, obviously, you mentioned the positive stats, and the barn 21% with a positive ROI 262 with those first-time starters, and obviously very sharp with 2-year-olds also. And you got good magic on the top. Certainly, that one has a 14% with first-time starters and 14 with 2-year-old first-time starters. So that is very solid numbers there in a restricted maiden special weight type race. And I agree on the 5. I mean, decent debut. Tyler was on there. Tyler is back on here for a barn that really, doesn't, have a ton of winners. So he does ride for them occasionally, obviously, but I do think in a race where the other ones really haven't impressed me, I was interested in both of those horses to finish up this pick 5. Starts it tomorrow for Sunday. Chris, obviously, we're hot and heavy in these contests. You got finishing up Keeneland, you got this Kentucky racing, moving back to Churchill Downs, and we obviously love Churchill. We're always looking for these kind of races. You got wide open, improving horses. Really, I know we're prepping for Breeders' Cup, but this is one you might want to keep your eye on for on Sunday.
Yeah, and even if you don't even get involved, I would go back and, if you're a serious horse player, I'd watch every one of these races afterwards, because there's going to be horses that run here. Is it Sunday? Yeah, Sunday. That you're likely going to see in Breeders' Cup next year.
Yeah, plenty of 2-year-old maiden special weights. You have, some interesting allowance type races also. So get in on Churchill on Sunday. Stars of Tomorrow, number 1. We'll have another Stars of Tomorrow later on this year. We'll be covering that also. We'd like to thank the KTDF for sponsorship. Chris, what are you doing for Breeders' Cup? I'm not sure. Are you coming out, or I know you're in the BCBC, but where are you playing it from?
I'll be playing it from right where you see me now. It's a grind, probably, I would say, the second biggest grind of the year besides NHC, assuming I qualify and go this year. Every year it's the same thing. I get a head start and I think I've got this whooped, and then I look up and it's Friday morning and you still don't have the work done. It'll be here, focus, no distractions, and see if I can get a little luck and put something together.
Well, definitely be rooting for you in that. Chris, appreciate all the work you do for us, and certainly your fantastic opinions for Kentucky racing. I'm sure we'll be talking to you soon, and good luck in that Breeders' Cup Betting Challenge.
Yeah, thank you. You too.
This has been a production of In the Money Media. Thank you to the KTDF for sponsoring this shows. Get in on Churchill on Sunday. Get in on those 2-year-olds. Enjoy the Breeders' Cup also. We'll see y'all next time.